going live on YouTube right now, and I'm live on Facebook as well. Should be going into the Spirit Talker Tribe Facebook interest group, but also on my Indigenous Medium Sean Leonard page. So I should be live in all these places. Let me see if I can expand my comments so that I can see everybody's comments. Let me just see. I don't know if that's going to work here. Yeah, let me give everybody a shout out there. Hello, everyone. There we go. Hello, everyone. Right into my comments for Facebook. Today is an amazing special day, and I'm hoping, just waiting for everybody to kind of jump in here. There's some people. Hello, Rebecca Campbell. How you doing? And who else is coming in today? There must be a few other people that are coming in. There we go. They're all popping in. Whitney Garra. Hi from London, Ontario. Tracy Hales. Christine Marsh. Mark Haish. Jose Madison. Daniel Macozola. It's going so fast, I can't even keep up. First time here, Rebecca says. Well, welcome, Rebecca. Maureen Norris. Peace from Waterloo, Ontario. Now, let me just see in YouTube. There's a few people here, too. Regan T. Cameron says, hi, everyone from Denman's Island. Mike Ellis says, hello, Sean. Diane Hackett, hello, Sean and Tribe. Lulu Criminologue. Gwe Sean, hello, everyone. So there's a few people here also on YouTube, because I stream YouTube at the same time as I stream to the Facebook group and also my like page. But I just want to say thank you for coming today. Today's like a really good day. It's actually a really, really great day because today is the first day of Spirit Talker Tribe Launch online course. Now, I will be getting into some teachings not too far away here in relation to connecting to your loved ones in spirit and how that may look. And I'm even going to share a bunch of stories to kind of help you think about how people can be connecting to you or how maybe they already are, and maybe eliminating some disbeliefs in a sense of, thinking that it's our own mind sometimes. Because I know our people are with us, and I want to kind of share my stories, but also help educate you in some sense to give you insight as to how your spirit people, are with you and around you and giving you messages sometimes in the multitude of ways that they can do that. But let me introduce myself first for the people that are first-time people that are coming on to the feed. My name is Indigenous Medium Sean Leonard. My Mi'kmaq name is Wabak Gipu Agidjamahajik Jigimahajik. It means White Eagle Spirit Talker, and I think I even messed up the pronunciation, but that's okay. I'm excited just to be talking to everybody today. Agudamahajik Jigimahajik. There we go. But because Mi'kmaq is a tough language to speak sometimes, but I do my best. But so White Eagle Spirit Talker. And I have an online course called Spirit Talker Tribe. And this is our second live session, as there's many live sessions throughout the month. I did one on September 5th pre-launch, and now today is launch day. And I wanted to kind of touch base and connect with people tonight and offer some more teachings in relation to different subjects that we may talk about in the course itself. Now, I am also a TV show host and personality within Canada. And I have my own TV show that has gone into season 5 called Spirit Talker. And it's on APTN, which is the Aboriginal People's Television Network here in Canada. And if you are outside of Canada, there's a way for you to watch it, just so you know. You can always get NordVPN, which is a VPN service that will allow you to say, hey, I'm in Canada, even though you're really not in Canada. You could say you're in Canada, because on aptnlumi.ca, when you sign up there, you get a week for free to watch Spirit Talker. So if you want to binge watch all the Spirit Talker that you can in a week, you can give her at aptnlumi.ca, lumi.ca. But you will need a VPN to say you're in Canada first. I'm hoping that the show will get out there greater in other ways. I know in the Indigenous channel done in Australia, Spirit Talker is also playing there as well. And I'm hoping that it'll be on other networks in the future as we move forward with life, etc. But I'm also a Hayhos author. And the two of the things that I published, the first thing that I published with Hayhos, or Hayhos published with me, was Spirit Talker, stories Indigenous Stories and Teachings from a Mi'kmaq Psychic Medium. So if you've not got that book, guess what? I'm actually going to be giving a copy away if you stay here and watch the live. All you got to say is, I don't have the book. And I did pick some people to win this book. And I've also picked somebody to win my Oracle card decks. Or not decks, my Oracle cards, which is Wisdom of the Elders, Oracle cards, which is also published by Hay House Publishing. And I'm working on a few new books for Hay House right now. Just one right now and another one next year, but I'm working on a Spirit Totem Animal Guidebook. But I'm super happy to be part of the Hay House family. And it's allowing me to get out there and reach people in a greater way so that I can share my wisdom and knowledge, not just with you, but with the world that I normally wouldn't be able to reach. And so that's a good thing about being an author and getting a book out there, sharing your stories and teaching so that you can help people, see life in a little bit of a different way, help guide people in life as well. Hello, Lauren Michael and brother Chris LaRock. Welcome everybody. But what I'm most happy about, and it's the reason why I'm actually here, is it's nice to have a TV show. It's nice to have Oracle cards and a book and all that and future books. But you know what? What I'm most happy about doing is teaching and helping people understand what it is that I have understood throughout my many experiences from life. That, I've been doing this work for like over 25 years. And I've connected to spirit in so many remarkable, amazing ways. And the wisdom and knowledge that I've gained along that journey, I want to share with people because I know it's changed my life and I know it can change yours too. Hence why I have the core Spirit Talker Tribe. And if you can't afford to join Spirit Talker Tribe, that's okay. Then you'll get something from the live teachings from September. Well, I don't know. Somebody sent me stars. That's different. I've never heard stars before. But anyway, don't send me a bunch of stars, everybody, because it obviously makes some noise there. But with the teaching, there's you want to know what the teachings are about, you could go to my website sean-leonard.com and go to the Spirit Talker Tribe tab. So it's Sean SHAWN hyphen or middle line Leonard LEONARD.com and look for the Spirit Talker Tribe tab on my website. And all the 12 modules I'm going to be teaching you out for the Spirit Talker Tribe Year 1 people are listed on that page. And what is Spirit Talker Tribe? And to sum it up really quickly, well, we go through a module each month. And just like what we're doing right now, we have live sessions where everybody comes in and I answer questions that people submit, and I do further teaching in relation. You'll get some videos that come out on the first of the month, every month. And then every Wednesday, there's a live session. Now, the good thing about the live session, and you probably have already noticed this, if you didn't catch the first one, I still send them out via email. So if you've, and there's only one live session a week, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time, where I live in Nova Scotia. And so if you can't catch it or you have to watch it at a later time, I always send out my videos with all of my students so that you can catch the live session and watch when is convenient for you. Now, so that's summing up Spirit Talker Tribe. Now, if you want to register, it's September 7th to September 30th, just so you know. But today's the first day. There's a bonus draw for people who enter between September 7th and September 14th. On September 15th, I'll be drawing for a live personal reading with me, with one person that has registered for Spirit Talker Tribe Year 1 from all the people that choose to register between September 7th and 14th. And but you still have the rest of the month. And then, just so you know, if you register now, you're in for that draw. But there's going to be other bonus draws that I'm not going to tell you about just yet. But they're going to be just equally as amazing. And if you watch the live sessions, every live session, I pick somebody who's going to win an Oracle card deck, somebody's going to win a Spirit Talker book, and somebody's going to win a Spirit Talker Tribe t-shirt. So I give one of these away for each live session for the month of September. Maybe I should announce the winners from last week. So how about drum roll? How about a drum roll? There we go. So drum roll. So the winners from September 5th's live session, there's 3 people. Joanne Curry Kent won Spirit Talker, the book, which I've sent you a message on Messenger. So please message me back with your mailing address. And who won the Wisdom of the Elders Oracle card decks? I think on Facebook she goes by Tante Sly on Facebook, but her name is Sylvie Savoy. And so I've also messaged you as well. So please send me your mailing address. And last but not least, Lisa Casilli won a Spirit Talker Tribe t-shirt. So congratulations to all those people. Next live session, I will announce the winners of these gifts that I will be giving away for 3 lucky people that have tuned in, whether it's on YouTube, my like page, or the Facebook interest group where many of you are right now. So let's get into tonight's subject matter. And that's why we're all mostly here, is I've been working and doing this work as a spirit talker psychic medium for, over 25 years. I want to help people understand, how to connect to your people. There's working as a psychic, as in a psychic medium or a spirit talker, whatever word that you prefer to choose or use. And I prefer spirit talker in my culture, as my indigenous name is White Eagle Spirit Talker. What I would say is, there's a little bit of a difference between giving message as receiving messages. And, when you're giving messages, you may see signs or things like that for other people. But for myself, how I've received messages throughout my life have come to me in a multitude of ways. The first way that I can remember connecting was usually during my sleep time, was through dreams. And my dad, in the visit that I remember that I've written about in my book, Spirit Talker, came to me after he passed. It was around 1 year time after he made his journey home to the spirit world, which was on October 16th, 1987. So let's say around October 1988, about a year after that he passed, I had the most incredible visitation from my father. And I'll briefly sum up the visitation if you've not heard it before. But, my dad, I was sleeping downstairs on my mom's couch in Elmsdale, Nova Scotia, where I grew up, just outside Shubenacadie and a few other places. But, and when I was young, I could literally go to sleep and I literally leave my body and fly around my neighborhood. I was like on a journey all the time. But as I got older, I started to have less and less of those experiences. But I remember this time particularly because and the reason is because my dad I had a visitation from my father. And I actually saw my father. I felt his spirit. I saw him looking well and vibrant, wearing a long white robe, which I to this day, I still not sure why people on the other side wear long white robes. I guess they look good and they're comfy. I don't know. But I remember waking up, and it was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I did wake up, I saw a light in my room, and this light was enormously bright. And I got up off the couch and I thought, okay, I was still awake, or I was awake, but I wasn't. I was having one of those experiences that I had when I was very young, where I would leave my body and kind of journey around the neighborhood, but I could see myself sleeping on the couch. And when I got up to look at the light, it grew larger and larger and larger. And as that light grew large enough to the size of a person, my dad walks out of this light. And this light was just, it's almost indescribable. It's everything all at once. And it was like the light that makes up everything in the universe. Literally, it was the creator. If I was to sum up the creator, is it a man or a woman? No. And I think, religion and dogma in the past have tried to kind of do that in a sense, a hierarchy or a kingship or things like that we've tried to help people understand what the creator is. But, if I was to say what the creator was, and my understanding is that there's nothing that the creator isn't. The creator, that light, that sacred light that is in everything, in every person, every plant, every object, everything in the world, in the universe, is made up of that sacred light. We are light beings. We are having a human experience temporarily. We've existed forever as part of that light, no different than a drop within the ocean. We are the ocean. We're not separate. We've never been separate. And, our consciousness, our individuality that I think people have fear, that think that, what if when we die, I think we just go back to the ocean, we lose our individuality. I'm going to say we're connected. We've never been disconnected from, the spark or the divine light of everything that's the universe right now. And you still have your individuality. You still have your awareness, your consciousness. And when you go into the spirit world, it's no different. You step into the light and your people are there to meet and greet you. And I got a glimpse of the other side for a moment, in that light where my dad was standing. And he showed me, he wouldn't let me walk fully into it. And because I really wanted to step into the light all the way. And I wanted to go home because I knew the light was home. I knew that was the journey that we all go upon is through this light to, you can call it the other side, the spirit world, heaven. I mean, really, there's been so many cultures and different ways to kind of describe the same thing, but we're all going to the same place. And I could feel it. I could feel the unconditional love of that light. It just, in a moment, I guess I could say I was enlightened in that moment, literally enlightened by the light itself. And I realized that in the life that I was living at 16 years old at that time, that I was here to serve a purpose. I was here with a job. I was here to fulfill something. I was here to do stuff while I was here to learn, to grow, to experience. But one day I would return home, but I wanted it to be that day. And my dad said, no, you can't come into the light. You can't come here with me because you have so much more to do. And he says, I've only come here a very short time to tell you a few messages. And he said, Sean, you need to hear me, but you need to remember this. We all have a purpose here. And my purpose has been served. And long before you or I were born, we made an agreement that I would leave your life at this point and show you the light so you can remember who you are. And I was like, well, that's amazing, but why would we make an agreement for you to leave my life at this time? And it's just something I could not grasp or understand. I don't know if everybody can hear my puppers upstairs barking away. My little dachshund, Scout, he likes to bark a little bit here and there. So you may hear him off here and there and such. And anyway, I wanted to move into the light. And he says, no, Sean, he says, you don't understand this. You will come home one day, but it's not your time. And I still wanted to go. All I could think about was, okay, I'm done with this world. I've done what I need to be here for. I'm ready to go home. And he said, no, Sean, you still have so much more to do. And he says, you don't know this, but part of this purpose of me leaving to show you the light, it says one day you're going to be helping and you're going to be serving people and helping people understand where we go and where we come from. I'm like, this sounds like Yoda from Star Wars and gibberish, literally. And I thought, how the hell am I supposed to do this? He said, Sean, there's really nothing you have to do. It's just going to happen. And I'm like, okay. I mean, it sounded like silly to me. And I still wanted to go. And I tried to walk past my father. And he showed me what it would look like for my mom, who was struggling so heavily with grief at that time. And actually, not only did he show me, I felt her experience and the pain that she was going through by the loss of my father. And then I felt if I was to leave this world and go into the light. And I felt what she would feel if I chose to go into the spirit world. And it would be 7 years that my mom would grieve even harder and more intense for that whole time and really never overcome that loss of myself and my father so close together. But then I saw after the 7 years that she would start to heal and start to be well again. And I said, well, Dad, she'll be okay in time. He goes, yes, she will be. But do you really want her to struggle and suffer that much? And I said, no, but I know one day she'll come home with us. And here I'm trying to reason with my father and in a sense arguing with him, no matter what he thinks my purpose is, I want to go home. And he said, no, we've made this agreement. My choosing to go into the spirit world to show you the light would be lost on your purpose if you were to come home, and you can't come here. You can see it, you can feel it, you can remember it, and you can help other people remember it one day too. But you can't come. And I still would have went. I literally would have went, because I knew that this was just a play. We're all like actors in a play, acting things out with divine purposes and lessons to be learned, etc. But those purposes, those lessons, those reasons for why we are here are hugely important. Not just for ourselves, but for all the people that we affect, maybe the generations of people that we affect that after we leave. And, potentially I would have not had children. My children would have not come into life if I left. And now I wouldn't be where I am today, sitting in front of you, speaking to you, teaching you about my understanding of the spirit world. Now, throughout the years, and my dad touched me in the forehead, I remember, and I woke up on the couch, and it was like the most amazing dream ever. I was like, oh my God, Dad visited me. And then I went to my mom and I said, Mom, guess what? Dad had come to me last time. And I thought she'd be happy, but my mom was actually still hurting and very angry a little bit because of the grief that she was struggling through. And, that's something I teach in Spirit Talker Tribe Year 2, but I do talk about it in Year 1 as well. But it's like dealing with grief. And maybe I'll mention that a little bit right after this, because maybe there's some people out here tonight that maybe need to think about the grief and how they can start to kind of shift it or change it a little bit. But grief is love. It absolutely is love. It's the love that is you're not able to share with the people or person that you want to share it with in the physical form that you do. But love does not die. And that's what connects us to our people in the spirit world. And that's a gift in itself, to remember that you're not separate. Even though it was a physical separation of sorts, that they're still with you, around you, and there's ways that they can remind you. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well as we move forward here. Spirit will let you know in different and unique and special ways, whether it's a dream or maybe some other unique sign, etc., that they're with you and around you. But I move forward. One thing I want to talk about with grief, just before I move forward, is we all are going to go through it at some point in our life, and some people's grief will be very hard and very long, and they'll have several losses. And the gift of grief and that love that you feel like you can't physically share with people because they're not physically here, it means you can still share with them in the spirit world. But you will return to spirit one day. You're not here forever. And you may think life is long. Life is a gift. We've come here with a very short time. If you think 100 years is a long time or 80 years is a long time, it is not. In the scope of universal time, when there is no time in the spirit world at all, and there's been no time forever. And I know that they look at the universe and go, well, it looks like it's this old or whatever, and I think they're all wrong. I think the universe has always existed. There's been galaxies that have created and have transformed and been part of other galaxies, and suns that have come into existence and created new suns, and those suns and have created life in itself because of the elements that is cast out into the universe from when it goes to supernova. That sun existed, and there was planets, and it was a solar system at some point somewhere else. And that first physical light that was within the universe itself has created the universe. So you and I, in the physical form, not only is our spirit light, but our physical form started as light of a star. We are star people. We are all star people. And indigenous people, and I know the Mi'kmaq people particularly, know this. We call ourselves star people because we know that we're made for the remnants of grandfather sun and the grandfather sons of the past. And you are too. And even science. This is like a a known fact by science that it's created the elements which brought together through gravity and probably the consciousness of the universe, the intelligence of the universe itself, because it has to be in the universe, because if we're made from the universe physically and you have awareness, consciousness, and a spirit inside you, and you obviously have consciousness because you're here today, you cannot have something that the universe doesn't already have. That element exists within the universe, divine intelligence of what is the creator. And we're all shards of that physical and spiritual light. Yet we each exist. Now, not to get too deep into, because that's my next book, is Grandfather Son and the 7 Directions of Manifestation. After that's my second book, not that I'm working on next year, just so you know, and it'll come out in a few years down the road. But that's what I'll be working on, is that book. And Hey Host loved the book, and I can't wait to share that book with y'all as we move forward. But sometimes when you're grieving, a lot of people, and I know for me, one of the things that I've noticed in my own life is the abundance of signs that happen, or a scent or a smell or a feeling that I've had, especially after my dad passed. And there's probably many people out there that have lost people too that remember a smell of sorts. I don't know if that makes sense, but I remember my dad when he passed away out in the driveway, and I was yelling at him to get back in his body, and I knew he could hear me, that there was a scent that morning, a very unique smell and scent that my mom couldn't smell or no one else could smell, but I could smell it. And every now and then, not very often, is not like when I did way back in the day when I was really grieving, but I caught the psychic sense of smell occasionally, and it would remind me of my father and the time. It would take me back to the moment that my father passed, and I would feel sorrow, I would feel heaviness, I'd feel grief. And this is something I learned back in the day that I want to kind of help you learn today, is with grief. Because when we have people that we love, that, so like what Carol Booth says, I remember my dad smelled the tobacco and shaving cream, and he comes to me often to let you know that he's around that way. Absolutely. I smell my mom's cooking, Edna LeBlanc says. Absolutely. There's so many people that have different things that remind you of people, and sometimes it's a scent and a connection to them. And when you have a memory of somebody that you love so deeply that is in the spirit world, it can also bring the heaviness or the grief, the unmoved love that you don't know how to give to your loved ones in some sense, because they're not physically here, but they're spiritually here. And I'm going to talk about that later too. But let's work on grief right now. But with grief, if you have a memory of somebody that you love, I mean, it could be, we may have some really heavy, hard ones, but if you notice that there's moments of grief in your mind, because our mind can be trained. You can be trained to think only bad things and have paranoia, to fear, and have anxiety and stress. And a lot of people have unintentionally, trained their brain to step into this kind of heaviness of life space. And I know some people that are in this space and they have trouble, and some of them have addictions, whether it's alcohol or drugs, etc. People sometimes self-medicate because they don't know how to shift it or change it within themselves. And that's very dear to home to me in so many different ways with some people that I know. And just even the other day, I saw somebody who I care about, struggling with drug addiction, and because of something they've been through, this mental mind virus that they've been carrying because of an experience in life. And they're using needles, etc., to self-medicate themselves. And I saw them kind of wigging out because they kind of overdid it on the needles. And I feel empathy for that person. I feel sorrow for that person. I want to see them struggling this way. I absolutely do not want to see this. But it's because people become stuck in different types of energy, and it's you know unreleased energy that we carry in our body. It's within our spirit. It's um, repressed emotions, whether it's from grief or hurt, pain, or loss, etc. And we have to be able to learn, and that's why there's so many counselors and therapists out there, as a psychologist or even psychiatrists. And my daughter Mackenzie, who lives in Calgary, Purdue, who I'm very proud of, and if you get my Wisdom of the Oracle cards, there's one card on the deck. I don't know if I can find it, but I made it for her exactly. Let me see. I should have thought about this. Oh, there it is. This card. I made this card and wrote this card for her because she's two-spirited, which means that she's a proud Indigenous lady who is, two-spirited in life, and she happens to be very intuitive and psychic in her own ways, but also she's a therapist, she's a counselor for two-spirited people, and that's her purpose. That's her purpose in life, and I'm proud of her for it. But when you have heavy memories, you can sit and hold the pain, or you can shift it to something that you remember that was good. The good memories, the good times, the funny ones, the happy ones. And when you notice those heavy ones sneaking up on you, shift it, change it. If you were to have a happy memory about that person in this moment, which one would you choose? Would it be a time that you were laughing at the table about nothing? Would it be a meal that you had, that you messed up or whatever, and you burnt it, but yet they still ate it? Who knows? And I know that story must connect to somebody out there because it's coming into my mind. So I know it's not mine because that's not happened to me. So I know this must mean this is for someone else out there that you need to hear that. Or maybe it's working on a car, right, with your dad. You didn't want to work on the car, but your dad was going to teach you about mechanics, Or maybe it was hunting with an uncle. Or, maybe it was playing with your son at the playground. It was a happy memory. It was fun. There was laughing. There was joy. There was good times. It was lighthearted. You played with toys and, you left different things there, for other kids to find as a fun thing to do with your child. There's so many things that we could think about in life. And if you think about the pain, the repressed emotions, and that's what you always go to all the time, that's who you are. That's what you have in your conscious awareness, your spirit. So when you notice the heaviness, and sometimes it can get the better of us, shift it for a moment. Just what moment could I choose that is happy? And every time you do this over and over and over again, your brain will start to rewire itself in a new way. It'll say, oh, I remember this time. And, and then when you think about dad or whoever, your children, your grandmom, your mom, you laugh. You laugh about, my grandmom playing cards and I caught her cheating at cards, or, my dad out in the woods, hunting all day with him. And then I walked out in the backyard and there was a deer in that backyard and he was sleeping in the house. There's funny things I could talk about life, about the people I lost. I mean, they make me feel love and joy as opposed to hardship, heaviness, and the pain of what they happened to, the cancer, the illness, the sickness, the I wish I could have. Think about what you did do. What was a good time? What was a good moment? Shift it, and the more that you shift it, the easier it becomes. So I wasn't thinking about talking about grief so much tonight, but maybe there's a lot of people out here that needed to hear that message in some sense to think about it, right? So keep that in mind. Shift your thoughts, your memories to something positive, good, happy, joyful, as opposed to heaviness, and just see what happens. Now, I know that sometimes, and I know and the reason why people visit us in dreams is because we are busy. And I'm going to talk about this in our next live session on September 15th. I might have to move it to the 16th, but I'll let you know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the 15th, but if I have to move it to the 16th, I will let everybody know ahead of time, depending on my schedule. But they will come to us in dreams. In the next live session, I'll be talking about, meditation and speaking with spirit, and, how to speak with spirit and why. But with dreams, why they in a dream time. Oh, somebody sent me some stars. So in dream time, when people come to us, it's because our mind is a state of consciousness that it's not busy. We're in REM state, rapid eye movement, but also we're in a very open state of consciousness that we can receive connections from spirit. And I've had so many good ones that have come. And I remember not that long ago, my nan passed. Oh, probably 7, 8 years ago. It was about 7 or 8 years ago now. I never went to my nan's funeral. And I spent so much time with my grandmother. I love her so much. And I used to go visit her in Newfoundland and play cards with her. I remember when I was young, I'd play cards and roll her smokes for her, and she would give me a cigarette, which got me a little bit addicted to nicotine when I was young, mind you. But, I did quit, in my 20s. I'm 52 now, so I've been not smoking for a super, super long time. But, my grandma would watch horror movies, and I was actually at her house just recently. In the last 2 weeks, I was in Newfoundland, and because that's where she was. She was a Mi'kmaq lady that lived in Fortune Bay, Newfoundland, and I was at her house that is vacant now, that my uncle Leonard owns. And so I was in the home, and nobody was there, but I sat in the house, and I could feel my grandmom. Some of my family would be like, "Oh, that's creepy. I can't go in there. What if I see my mom? What if I see my grandmom?" I'm like, that would be amazing. If I got to see my nan for a minute, just for a second, walking through the house, I would love that so much. And people would be scared. I'm like, this is your mother. How could you be scared of your mother, for God's sakes? You love her unconditionally. She loves you unconditionally. And so I could feel her and sense her. And it was just amazing. I sat in her house and I talked to her for a few minutes, and I could feel her listening to me. I could feel her. And I talked about some of the things that I remember and some of the stories that we shared. It was just, and I could feel her psychically. I could feel her energy in the space and place. Not like she's haunting it or like she's hanging out there. She's got nothing better to do. She came because I walked into the space and I thought about her. I thought about her in the space. And that brought her to me, brought her to the home. Doesn't mean she might not visit the home here and there. Thank you, Nan. She told me a story I need to tell you. See, this is where, when you're a psychic, sometimes things just kind of pop in your brain, and it's like they want me to tell you things. And I know my grandma just communicated to me, so I will share that, Nan, in a minute. And actually, my mom, last year and a half ago, got some bad news, actually. My mom, we found out, had breast cancer. And, that's my mom. I've already lost my father. And, I found out that she had breast cancer. And it was like, the size of a dime or less. And it was like 10 millimeters, cancerous tumor that was in her one breast, but not the other. She went for a biopsy, came back positive for cancer. And this is a year and a half ago. Anyway, when I was a little scared, but then talking about my grandmom, I had a dream where she came to me. And I haven't seen my grandmother in a dream in a long time. It was actually really nice to see her. Now, my grandmom, the little short Mi'kmaq lady, she always wore a red sweater. She always had this red sweater. She was always cold. I mean, she she was always cold, kicking around her house. And anyway, in the dream, I was in a house, but it wasn't my house. And that doesn't matter. I was inside this home, and I was looking out the window going up to the front step in my dream, and I saw my grandmother walking up the step, and she kind of looked at me for a second, and she was holding a file folder. She was holding a file folder in her hand, and she walked up to the door, and she was going to open the door. But when I saw her, I knew in the file folder she was bringing good news. I knew it was good news. I could feel it was good news. I sensed she was bringing something that was going to be really good. Knowing that my mom had cancer, I knew she was bringing good news about it. And I woke up and I never actually got to see my grandmom come in the house. I never got to hug her, but I caught a glimpse of her for a moment. And it was so amazing that I saw her for that moment. So grateful for that moment to see her. It's exciting when you connect to your people. It's joy when you get to see the people you love for moments. It's like I haven't seen her in so long. It's like, oh my God, Nan, where you been for so long? Why have you taken so long to come see me? And we made a pact before she passed away. I said, Nan, listen, you know what I do and all this, you're very connected yourself. But, Nan, when you make your journey home to the spirit world, and she had bad dementia too. And I said, Nan, when you make your way home to the spirit world, visit me. I want you to visit me. And she says, I will, Sean. She said, and my grandmom, even though she's very spiritual, loved her horror movies and all that. I remember sitting down watching Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and the whole 9 yards with my grandmom. She just loved it. And we couldn't watch until it was like midnight. And then we had to go outside somewhere for whatever. It was kind of fun. It was fun times. And so she says, I will. If the good Lord lets me, I'll come visit you. And I've been waiting for some time for that visit, but she picked the right time because I was struggling with my mom and what she was going through with her cancer, etc. And, we were trying to remain optimistic. I told my mom, you got to be positive and all this. And then I had the dream and I knew things were going to be good. So she opted to have her one breast removed and she had the surgery. And they did a biopsy and checked the space after, of having the surgery, that there was no cancer cells. And she didn't need chemo. She didn't need radiation. She didn't need anything. And I was like, that's the good news. Sometimes we're going to go through some freaking hard shit. Sorry for my language. But we all are. I go through stuff. Trust me, I am human. I've been through stuff. You've been through stuff. We all go through stuff. And there's going to be times that are really hard. But sometimes a little visit from somebody just holding a file folder, giving me a sense or feeling, letting me know that things are going to work out okay. Things are going to be okay. And I felt that. I knew that. It was such a good feeling. And I knew that going into the surgery. And I kept telling Mom, I said, I know you're going to be okay because Nan had come to me and I knew she was bringing good news. And we're going to get good news through all this. It's going to be good news through all this. You're going to be okay. And she is. She's fine. And she's currently in Newfoundland. As I just saw her visiting her, she has a house there right beside where my grandmother has her house. And to digress back, with my mom. Speaking of my mom, oh yes, Nan, she wants me to tell you this. Okay, sorry, because I know my grandmom is communicating to me because she's telling me about a memory that I have with her. So I need to share this with you. My grandmom had huge amounts of fear about life. In a reason, she had 16 freaking children, for God's sakes. I mean, back in the day, if you had 16 children today, you'd have a reality show. But she had 16 kids. My mom was the oldest. I'm the oldest grandson. Her name is Margaret Stewart. And anyway, she had so many children. She had such a bad hip from the children she had. And she actually even lost 2 children, just so you know. She had, but she had a bad hip and she had a lot of fear. The doctor wanted her to go for surgery and she would never go for surgery. She said, no, I'm not doing that. She was scared she was going to die, for God's sake. And she asked me and I said, Nan, you're not going to die. You need to go for your surgery. Just let this go. This fear is not serving you. So she went for her surgery, I'm sure not just on my own recommendation from her doctors and many people telling her just to go do it. So she went for the surgery. My grandfather passed. He passed away a year, a month, and a day after my dad did in tragic circumstances, which is so sad. But my grandmom had been alone for so long. Big family of mine, so everybody would come see her every year, etc. And so she went for the hip surgery, and within a short time, because my grandmom loves music, she loved dancing. She hadn't danced in years. When my grandfather was alive, they used to go to dances every time he would come in from the ships. She probably was pregnant, but they would go dancing, for God's sakes. And so she went dancing again up at the hall in the small town where she was residing in Fortune Bay, Newfoundland, called St. Bernard's. And she met another man, Chess, and she lived with Chess, and they had a life, and they go dancing every other weekend. And she lived in so much fear of saying, "Hey, I can't do this. I have fear. I'm scared. I cannot." And then she finally did it, and she says, Sean, it was, if I known it was going to be that easy, I would have done it long ago. I would have done this long ago. And well, I said, maybe you wouldn't have got to meet Chess, this new man that had come into her life, if you met him. And he unfortunately passed away as well. And I remember being in Newfoundland on my grandmom's, I think it was her 83rd birthday. I think it was her 83rd birthday. And she sat with me outside. And she says, and like I said, my grandmom, she's had a long journey through life, hard life in different ways. I mean, back in the day, I think it's way harder for them than it has been for most of us this day, just because of what they had to go through physically with life. We have it a little bit easier now. It doesn't mean we all have it easy, but my grandmom had it hard, I think, raising 16 children, etc. And anyway, Chess passed away, and she said, Sean, do you feel like Chess is around me? And as she was talking about Chess, she was sitting in on the lawn chair. We're out on the patio stones out by her house. And as she was speaking, I saw this beam of pure white light, the same light that I saw that my father walked out of. And it was like a beam, probably about 2 to 3 feet high, about a foot wide. And it was right behind her. I said, Nan, I know Chess is with you. She goes, how do you know? I said, because I'm pretty freaking sure I can see him standing behind you. She goes, can you? She says, I feel him too. I feel him too. I said, he is there. He does visit you. And along with my grandma, there's no jealousy in the spirit world. And so, sometimes it's that feeling like in the home. And that's why now I get you, Nan, why you wanted me to tell that story. See, my grandma wanted me to share that story with you. So it must mean something to someone today, or you need to hear that story today. There's something about that story that's going to touch you in some way about my grandmother, and I needed to share that. Now, my mom, lost my father, my stepfather, Larry, who she was married to my dad for 18 years, and she was married to Larry for 18 years as well. She had 2 incredible, wonderful marriages, and I'm so grateful and happy that she got to live her life, with somebody that made her very happy. And Larry did this as well, along with my father. And I remember after Larry passed away, I was the one that discovered that he had cancer, unfortunately, and there was no healing Larry. That was his journey. He was meant to go home. I've had a dream with Larry and my dad and having dinner together with them. So it was pretty amazing dream. But I remember, now this is about signs, because before Larry made his journey home into the spirit world, my mom had talked to him and said, Larry, when you go, I want you to send me feathers and a rainbow. And I know when you send me these 2 things together, I'll know that it's you, right? And I actually have a clip on my YouTube channel. You could always check it out. But I did a live audience session in Halifax, Nova Scotia, probably about 7 years ago, maybe around there. I was with John Holland, although John Holland, you won't see in the video, we did an event together, another Hayos author. We did an event together in Halifax, Nova Scotia, like 7 years ago. And I connected to a girl in the audience. And I'll tell you that in a minute. Let me finish the story with my mom, because I get so sidetracked. I have psychic ADHD. I think about one thing, I'm over to here, but I also feel like Spirit's guiding me a lot of the times of things that I need to talk about. But anyway, my mom was married to Larry, and he unfortunately passed away. And there's a whole story to that connection of me seeing, and I'll talk about it maybe a little bit in the next live session when I talk about meditation, speaking with the spirit world, and maybe cover your chakras and auras a little bit, which I'm going to talk about in the next live session. And I'll go more into that story about how I discovered the cancer with Larry, etc. then. But for today, we'll just know that Larry passed away, and it was September 11th. So it's coming up really to his anniversary. So hello, Larry. Thanks for being part of today's teaching. I appreciate you, and I'm grateful that you're here to hear this teaching and speaking with all these people. It was in 2011. So it's been a while, it's like 13 years now since Larry's passed away. But it was at his funeral, and my mom had this conversation with him before he passed, because we knew he was making his journey home. And my mom said, send me the rainbows and the butterfly, not the butterfly, the feathers. I want to have these two things come from you so that I know that you're okay. So let me know. After he made his journey home, mom had found a couple feathers, etc. And she, my mom was grieving. I mean, she lost another man who meant so much to her. It was, it was really hard for my mom to kind of go through that loss as well, and equally as my father. And I remember at the funeral, I was inside and I was waiting for the priest was up front, and he was looking for my mom because he wanted to get started. He wanted to get started on the service. And my mom was not there. And I'm like, where the heck is my mom? I said, I got to go looking for my mom. So I went outside and I looked for my mom, and I looked in the graveyard, and she was down by the spot where Larry's remains will be, where my dad, where his remains are in Infield, Nova Scotia at the Catholic Church. Because my mom was very Catholic growing up, right? And that speaks to her even today. She still goes to church, and that's her thing. And I respect her for it. It's not necessarily my beliefs, and I don't even know if it's really her beliefs, but she still goes anyway. But anyway, she was standing up beside my father's grave, looking up at the sky and looking around. She was crying really heavily, and she said, Sean, I haven't got my feather and my rainbow today. And I said, well, I mean, Larry's not going to just throw them at you like left, right, and center. I mean, it's a service. There's a lot of people inside waiting for us. We have to go inside. And she goes, I'm not going in until I get it. And I said, Larry, can you help us out? It's your funeral. Can you help us out, Larry? So I had a little conversation with Larry, and sure as shit, didn't a freaking feather float down from the sky? And no sooner did that feather hit the ground, a rainbow went across the sky. And it wasn't a full rainbow, but half a rainbow. And my mom, she started crying. And I said, are you okay now, Mom? Can we go inside? I was like, it was just amazing. And it was almost on cue. Now, that doesn't happen very often. They don't. But when it does happen, it's amazing. And when you talk to people, my dad used to send me dimes, and when I was younger, and there's a whole thing in the book on it, and I even put a story in there. Now, there was one thing that happened to me when I turned 51. I'm 52 now. I think I'm 52 freaking anyway. I'm born in 1972. But months before my birthday, because my dad used to send me dimes. And this is like for people who are out there thinking about, maybe I could ask my loved one for a sign. And I'm going to go into this before we stop for today. But you can talk to your people, talk to them, communicate to them, speak to them, because they hear you, and they will let you know that, that they are speaking to you, that they are finding ways to communicate to you in other ways, like a dime, a message, a song, a scent, a specific, like House of the Rising Sun, which is my ringtone on my phone, just so you know. I've made it that, but there's other ways that my dad will use that song to kind of communicate to me, because he used to play it on the guitar. But sometimes it's okay to ask them intentionally for something. And my dad's been gone since 1987, as you know, and that's a long time. And I feel him around. I think about him. I hear the songs, different things. I communicate to him. I'm out driving my side-by-side out in the backwoods, going fishing, imagining he's sitting with me, talking to them. And imagine him like he'd be this little old man cursing at me probably now because I'd be driving too fast. But I know that he's with me. And occasionally he'll send me a woodpecker or a cardinal or something like this, or a blue jay feather. And so just a few years ago, before my birthday, and I didn't plan it to be on my birthday, but I talked to my father and I said, Dad, it's been a while since you sent me anything like big. Like I said, maybe you could just send me a couple dimes in a very unique and special way to remind me and let me know that you're still around. I'd really like that, just, you don't have to give me a bunch. I don't need to fill a jar. I just give me two in a very unique and special way. And that's all I need. Just just make it special. And, I want to ask you for a long time. I don't need them all the time, to be honest. I don't need them all the time. And people that are struggling with grief, they're asking all the time, I need to have these feathers. Like my mom at the beginning was upset because she didn't get the feather of the rainbow right away. And, it did come through in that moment, but we shouldn't need things all the time to help you. They come at special and unique times to say, hey, I'm here, I'm with you. And there's actually on my website, on my testimonials, somebody posted a picture that had come to me for reading many years ago. And I said, your dad's going to send you one dime in a very special, unique way. And then she moved the Christmas tree, and where her dad's cross is on the wall, and on the cross was a dime on the wall. And she sent me the picture and the story. So you can always read it on my testimonials on my webpage, sean-leonard.com. So I asked my dad for a couple dimes, and I let it go. I don't think about him. I've actually forgot. I even asked my father to send me a couple dimes. I've forgotten long ago. I don't sit and go, okay, well, Tuesday at 2:00, Dad, if you could send me those dimes, or if you don't give them to me, I'm just going to say, well, guess you're not around me anymore. No, that's pretty pessimistic, and it's just like, I just said, just send it to me in some unique way. And I forgot about even asking him. That's how it was a little bit of, like, let's say it was a few months had gone by. And on my 51st birthday, I woke up in my home, and Michelle, who was working, maybe this was my 49th birthday. I don't remember. I lose track of time, to tell you the truth. That's how fast life goes. It just seems like the other day. I was either 49 or 51, one of the two. That's irrelevant. But Michelle was at work because she was doing home care for elderly people. And so I had this plan in motion that I was getting up and I was doing nothing for today because I'm a pretty busy person. I do lots of stuff. I teach a course. I'm an author. I'm doing a TV show. I travel a lot. So I'm giving myself a day off. I'm going to just sit home, not answering any emails today, just so you know, it's my birthday. So I put out a hat. I wasn't going to shave. I wasn't going to shower. My plan was to come down and watch Netflix or watch YouTube, lay on the couch in my pajamas, and celebrate my birthday that way by just relaxing and chilling and just taking it easy and doing really nothing. So I set that plan in motion the night before. I put my hat on my dresser, and I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get up, put my hat on. I'm going to run right downstairs, have some coffee. And that's what Donna Hebert says. That's what happens when you get 50s. LMAO. Laugh my ass off. Absolutely, yes. So I get up in the morning anyway. Michelle's gone to work, and I get up. I go to get my hat that I put there to put on my head. But in front of my hat's 2 dimes. So, the logical part of my brain goes, Michelle must have left 2 dimes there. So I'm ringing up Michelle. Hey, Michelle, are you busy? No? Okay, good. Did you leave 2 dimes in front of my hat? She's like, what the hell would I leave dimes in front of your hat for? I don't have any money in my wallet. And if I did, I wouldn't put them in front of your hat. She says, maybe it was from your dad. And I said, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry to bother you. Go back to work. I will. So I hung up and I looked at the dimes. I took a picture. It's on my phone. Actually, I have a picture on my phone of the dimes. And the cool thing is I sat there and I talked to my dad. I talked to him before about sending me the dimes, but when I got the dimes, it allowed me to have a few moments where, again, like how I felt my grandmother in the home, but now I'm in her home, but this is my home. He's never been here in physical form. I know he's visited lots. So I sat there and I said, hey, Dad, I so appreciate you visiting me this morning, especially on my birthday and leaving me the dimes. I'm so happy that you made it special and so unique in an awesome way that I know that it would be you. And as I was talking to him, when I was feeling this love in my heart and having this communication with him, I knew he could hear me. I could feel it in my heart that he could hear me. It actually scared me a little bit because the latch, I have a metal latch on our dresser, which pulls out, right? It has these latches that lift up. They're metal. One of them lifted up by themselves and dropped and made a noise. It went lift and went clink. Like, I wasn't expecting that, Dad. Well, he did move the dimes in front of my head, didn't he? So how weird is to think that he might have lifted the latch on my dresser to say, I hear you, son. I heard you. I'm here with you today. I hear you. And that's what I felt in that moment, was I was heard. And then that it wasn't just weird dimes that were showing up randomly. He was with me right now. And it was very moving. I cried. I could cry now thinking about it. And it was just amazing. And we have moments in our life where we could shift our thoughts, to happy thoughts about the people we love, good times, happy memories, etc. And we can talk to them when you're out driving the car and the song comes on of your that reminds you of your mom, dad, brother, son, friend, cousin, etc. Have a little chit chat with your family. Invite them to be part of your life sometimes too, because that's important. It's really important. There's so many stories that I want to share with you in relation to how we can talk to our people. And that's why it's a month and a module in Spirit Talker Tribe. And it's a month where we make deep connections to our own people through the connection phase of Spirit Talker Tribe. Because being part of a Spirit Talker, being part of Spirit and being a Spirit Talker is amazing, where I get to help and serve people and guide people through remembering and reconnection through the validating messages that come through with love from Spirit for the people that I'm speaking to. But we all need to be connected to our people too. And that's equally as important as helping others, is to remember who is with us and who walks with us in our life, whether your guides, your angels, your loved ones that you love so much in the spirit world. So I don't want to keep talking, because I could literally talk, just so you know. I absolutely love teaching and talking about different things. And but out of my Wisdom of the Elders Oracle cards, I was shuffling the cards up, because sometimes I'll shuffle them up, which is a little guidebook inside, and the cards come out, which are beautiful on the one side. They all have the same picture, but then there's a bunch of different pictures on the other side that were hand painted by a wonderful and incredibly talented Mi'kmaq artist named Tracy Metallic from Listigwish, Quebec, who painted every one of these. And then I had Erin Gugu, also a Mi'kmaq graphic artist from Shubenacadie, use her art and then work with it in a way to kind of help them fit on the cards the best that they could. And but the majority of the work, let's say 80 to 90%, is definitely Tracy Metallics, and there was a 10% help with and some artistic helped as well with bringing some things together to fit them on the cards from Erin Gugu. They're amazing. So I shuffled the cards up before, because they're backwards now, but I shuffled the cards up and I drew a card, and I drew one card, and I asked everybody, I asked Spirit today, and this is when you're drawing a card for yourself, I said, Spirit, what card would be perfect that I could give people today, a message that would be in alignment with what I'm teaching today? And I shuffled them up, and one popped out. And I'm going to show it to you. This is the card. Spirit Plate Offering. And I'm going to leave this lesson today with this, because in Indigenous culture, it's a common practice that we have a meal for our people. We have a ceremony for our people, not in a ceremony in the sense that like after they pass. Usually it's a year after they pass. We give them the time to make their journey. And then we celebrate them from that journey about a year after. But we have a meal in their memory and honor, and we invite them to that meal, and we make them a plate of food as we invited them. And energetically, it would be wrong if you're inviting people that you love to your celebration, your gathering, your ceremony, without offering them something. So oftentimes Indigenous people offer some type of spiritual medicine, but you can offer a plate of food as well. And that plate of food we put outside. I'm sure whoever, the mice, the squirrels, the crows, or whoever is eating, or the seagulls, sometimes it's not whether or not they're physically eating the food. It's the intention that I've invited you here to share a meal with me. And this is your meal, and we'll put it outside, and whatever happens, how it feeds, the spirit and the creator, that's up to you, of the animals that you bring to feast on that food. But I think we have to think about sometimes offering our people in spirit, and many people do this, and on the TV show Spirit Talker, you might get to see this, where and this has come up, where you go to sometimes spirit will come through and tell me something that they were just at the grave and left a watch there today. And they're coming to me for reading. I said, well, your dad tells me that you were at the grave this morning, talked to him about the tattoo, and left a watch there for him. And they're like, how the hell do you know that? I'm like, I don't know that. Your dad just told me. Or, you left the flowers. He likes the yellow ones, but he prefers the red, just so you know. Or she likes the roses, but the yellow ones are nice too. She says they're a little bit stinky, but she prefers the roses. Or you leave like and indigenous people, this is funny, is because sometimes this is a common thing that comes through. Oh, we left the can of Pepsi because he loved his Pepsi, we left it on the grave. That's kind of funny. If anybody leaves me anything, they're gonna have to leave me a Diet Pepsi, just so you know. I like Diet Pepsis. Sometimes a little bit too much. I'm cutting back. I'm drinking way more water now, but I had my own little Diet Pepsi addiction there back in the day, and I'm still working on it. I'm just still working on it. So, but anyway, this is what we're going to leave today. I just want you to know today is the first day of Spirit Talker Tribe launch, September 7th. And Spirit Talker Tribe launch for the online course starts this day every single year. And I have a year one, I have a year two, and I have a membership. But this is the registration for the Spirit Talker Tribe year one. If you're interested in the modules, go to my website, sean-leonard.com. Look at the modules. You can register and sign up today if you choose. There is a bonus for signing up in the first 7 days, from the 7th to the 14th. I'm drawing for a reading with me, a personal reading from all the people that have registered. I think 35 people registered today so far that I know of. And I think by the end of the week, there'll be some more. But out of those people, one person will win a reading from me. But there'll be future bonus draws as well as we move forward. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share my stories and some of my teachings with you tonight. And I hope they help make you think. I hope they help make you, be inspired in some way to connect to your people in a very unique and special way, and that you shift some of your thoughts that you may be carrying that are heavy, but also invite your loved ones to maybe share some type of special sign with you, right? And like I said, this is just one live session. In the course itself, we do a month of live sessions on one topic every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And if you can't catch it live, like most of you are all here live right now, they are recorded. And I will send this live to you via email if you're on my email list. And if you're in the course, as we move forward, I send all the lives to you via email as well. So you will never miss one. And you can watch it when it's convenient for you. You don't have to watch it live. You can watch it later sometime if need be. But what I teach supports each module that we teach along the course. So take a look at the modules. And last year, I think between year one, year two, and year three, the membership, I had 750 students. I think there was 400 year one students last year. And I think 50% of every year of my students move on to year two, because a lot of people get what they need from year one. They do. And that's okay. But there's some people that say, like, I'm a Spirit Talker Triber for life. I love this stuff. I love spirit. I love talking with spirit and understanding. And I want to know more to help me connect more for myself, but also to serve people in an amazing, great way. And that's what Spirit Talker Tribe is about. So thank you tonight. Thank you for joining me. Wilalio and Sitnogama. I hope to see you all again on September 15th. And that's the date that I have planned. If I need to change it, I will let you know. It'll probably be September 16th if I can't do it on the 15th. But I will post it. I will email it. I will share it everywhere to let you know. If it's not the 15th, that'll be on the 16th. But I'm planning for the 15th. It depends on my schedule, etc. But thank you for joining me, and I appreciate you all for being here. And I hope it's shifted or changed your life in just a small way. Wilalio and Sitnogama.